Hey, True Believers England Teen here with another batch of new comic book reviews, doing the Future State books. This one is a little bit late, I know it, but it's one I got to talk about, Harley Quinn. The Future State of Harley Quinn, as well as Marvel's M.O.D.O.K Head Games, issue number 2, Nightwing number 77, and an independent comic book I just discovered called Gung Ho. So kick back, relax, and let's get this party started. I love this, by the way. I love this cover. I like this art. They used it on, I think, the Birds of Prey graphic novel, the Black Label thing. Really nice. Sweet, sweet cover. Thankfully, there's sort of a cell shading art going on the inside that almost matches it. Like the outside, the cover's the painted version of what we see on the inside. I like this. I think it looks pretty cool. It is. I think it fits Harley Quinn because, of course, we know her origins are in the animated series rather than the comic book itself. So I just kind of dug on it a little bit, you know. But let's get to the story as well. And you're going to see the art going all the way through. So Harley Quinn is pulled out of Arkham by none other than Dr. Crane, a reformed Dr. Crane who's now working for the magistrate, and is asking Harley Quinn to help them bring down some of Batman's other supervillains. Like the Firefly and so forth. And I gotta admit, I kind of like this. Now, I did have a problem. I actually read this book twice. The first time I was like, did I just read what I read? And I went away from it. And this is why the review's late. Went away from it for a little bit, and then I returned to it. And because the first time, it kind of hacked me off. And I had to kind of shed my expectations of Harley Quinn. See, Harley Quinn, when she started, if you ever read Mad Love, was not a good psychiatrist. She slept her way through college. That's how she passed. That's how she got her degree. She didn't study. She wasn't a great mind of any sort. So this whole thing where she's a good and competent psychiatrist is kind of new and definitely new to me. And so I was resistant at first, but when I came back and I read it the second time, I actually kind of like this. They use her as sort of a Hannibal Lecter kind of thing, you know, where they're using the serial killer to catch the serial killer. In this case, using the psychiatrist villain to catch the psychiatrist villain. But we do find out in the middle of the story that the guy that's interrogating her is actually Dr. Crane, the Scarecrow. So I'm thinking, okay, so basically you got two different psychiatrists. I mean, because he is also a psychologist. So they could be working together on this, and as they are, it's a very interesting story. Not a whole ton of action in it. It's more dialogue, and then they might show you what happened outside their conversation. But because the dialogue is so good, it feels like there's more action in the book than there actually is, and I think that just serves as a plus. I'm very surprised. I haven't liked a Harley Quinn book in a long, long time, but I am happy to report that this is one, and I cannot believe DC did this to Harley Quinn. Can't tell you what made me pick up this independent comic book, but I saw this one. I was like, all right, let's give it a try. Gung Ho, Sexy Beast. I've never heard of it before. It's a new thing. No, it isn't, actually. Apparently, this is volume 2 of this storyline, so now I've got to go out and find volume 1 to catch up. Sometimes that happens, you know, independent comic books can just fly under the radar sometimes. So it starts off, and a group of adults are teaching kids how to use guns. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess it's like a gun club or something. Oh, no. Apparently, what's going on is they're kind of stuck on an island of sorts, and there's these beasts around the island, and they basically are learning how to defend themselves because, well, this is the world they live in now. Apparently there's a caste system, though, because a lot of the orphans of the island are not being treated as well as the kids with the parents. You know, when you see them divvying up guns, the better guns go to the kids of the adults. To which I thought, yeah, I'm sorry, but yes, I get that. I know. Okay, well, you know, they deserve. Yeah, nope, I get it. If you're a parent, you want to make sure your child is protected first. So I am A-okay with it. We do see the kids off swimming, and they notice that these beasts, they look like baboons of some sort, and they start chasing after them. And what of the girls? The girl here in the yellow bikini starts firing her gun at him, and in all honesty, she gets chastised for this later, but it is, it's understandable. I mean, don't waste your bullets. You know, you should, and that should be part of their training anyway. So it's a survival story. And I kind of liked it. Kids are acting like kids, teenagers are acting like teenagers, and you know, at some point in time, like when they're around their adults, they're far more controlled. When they get away from them, they want to do more things, prove they're brave, prove they're more adult by being less mature. You know, like many of us did as teenagers. So I think it's a very well written book, so far it's a well told story, because through the dialogue, through these pages, I got a sense of what happened in the volume before, all the while it told me what was going on in the world now. So I don't feel I needed to read, or I need to read the first volume to enjoy this, but it does make me want to. And that's the way a comic book should. If you're going for a volume 2, do that. And I think it'll be successful. And in all honesty, I think Gung Ho definitely nails it. So, M.O.D.O.K, Head Games, number 2. This is, I believe, yeah, it says right there, Patton Oswalt helped to write this, and holy crap, does it show. This is a very comedic take on M.O.D.O.K and Iron Man and the whole 9 yards. What gets me is, in this book, one of the problems M.O.D.O.K's having, he goes to Tony Stark to get fixed, which, by the way, ticks off the Avengers. Hawkeye's like, wait, is that M.O.D.O.K there? I've been trying to get into your lab for all this time, and you've got M.O.D.O.K there? He turns him off. Apparently, M.O.D.O.K is having visions of a family that doesn't exist. M.O.D.O.K, you know, with Daddy M.O.D.O.K, you know, daughter M.O.D.O.K, and so forth and so on. And what gets me is, are you telling me he envisions his daughter as a lesbian? I'm not kidding. There's a scene where he sees his daughter crying because her girlfriend left her. I'm like, why? You know, what narrative sense would that make? I mean, I get it. Okay, I get it as the writer wants to include and blah, blah, blah. And like I said, Marvel does write the world outside their window, and they did set up offices right next to a lesbian club. It's just, I didn't get that. Why would M.O.D.O.K, of all people, envision that, of all things? So M.O.D.O.K disguises himself, as you can see here, as Arnim Zola. So he and Tony Stark, dressed as a Hydra agent, can go into a villain auction where they're auctioning off different weapons, different technologies, and so forth. And and comedy ensues. Basically, that's it. Here's the premise, here's the setup, and comedy ensues. Not a lot goes on. This is a dialogue book. This is all about the jokes. It's all about the gags. It's all about the puns. That's the point of this book. This really, I don't think, is meant to forward the character of M.O.D.O.K. This isn't meant to forward the character of even Tony Stark or anything. This was the scene I was telling you about. But it's... It does play well. I think this is one of those things that will happen, and then it will go away. And not a lot of people are going to be talking about M.O.D.O.K Head Games. But while you're reading this book, I think you're going to have a great freaking time. I know I did. I'm a big fan of this, and I'm in for the long haul. Feels kind of weird reviewing Nightwing and such, you know, DC Comics that aren't Future State. This happened, of course, in December, and we have Batman trying to call Dick Grayson home for the holidays. Now, here's the weird thing. In issue number 76, he breaks up with his girlfriend. But in issue 77, he is refusing to hang out with Batman on the holidays because his normal life is with the girlfriend. So issue 77, I guess, takes place before issue 76. Why would you do that? Or is this just bad editorial? Because for some reason, I'm going to go with B. I'm going to say they gave this to a different writer. It just doesn't make sense. That was the one big problem. Well, anyway, this is one of those big corporation hires or wants to get Batman and or Nightwing to help them because somebody stole information, and Nightwing chases them down, and guess who the real bad guys are? What? Big corporation? You kidding me? Spoiler alert, by the way. And yeah, that's the story. We've seen it before. Guess what Nightwing does? You think he says, "Hey, look, I understand, you know, you're poor and all that kind of stuff, but you broke the law. There are legal ways to do what you want to do. You didn't do any of those. You broke the law, so I have to bring you in. I have to get the information back." Yeah, no, that's not what he said. That's not what the vigilante who has been fighting crime all of his life said. Instead, of course, he let the person who stole everything. God dang it! I'm spoiling a book that came out last month and is now, I guess, irrelevant because of Future State and whatever they're gonna do afterwards. I don't know. Anyway, there you go. This is a comic book. It's got pages. As you can see, there's art on it. There's dialogue on it. It's nothing special. It's not bad. I don't think anybody who reads this is going to be like, "Oh no, that's the worst thing I've ever read. I hate it for all life, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada." I think for the most part, you'll read it and go, "Okay, next." Anyway, those were the reviews, and now to sum up, and as always, I've got from worst to best, and while there are no bad books, I do have to say at least Nightwing was kind of ho-hum. Didn't make sense after issue number 76, plus the story has been told about 1,000 times and way better than this. Next up, I've got to go with Harley Quinn. Yes, I know, I liked it a lot, and that's just to say how much fun and or the quality of the books that are ahead. This is a lot of fun, but my gosh, I had a great time with M.O.D.O.K. It just reminded me of the comic and comedy books of old. I like that. It is so entertaining, but Gung Ho, in my opinion, is how you write a comic. And it did everything it needed to do to create a new fan. But those are just my opinions. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, ring that notification bell if you haven't done it already. And if you don't mind helping out the channel, go on over to Patreon or to Ko-Fi. Links are in the description below. Drop $1 in the till, helps keep the lights on, helps keep making videos for you. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.